You ever stop to think why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, living lives of true abundance and freedom, while others, despite working their fingers to the bone, remain perpetually stuck in scarcity? Because if we really analyze it, the problem isn't often a lack of effort or opportunity. It's something far more subtle, ingrained in our very thought patterns. It's the silent narratives we tell ourselves, the beliefs we hold about money, success, and even our own worth. And understanding this fundamental disconnect, it changes everything. I know how frustrating it feels to be working relentlessly, putting in the hours, trying all the hacks, yet constantly feeling like you're running in place. I've been there, thinking I just needed to work harder. But the truth is, it's not about how hard you work, it's about how you think. I'm not here to tell you it's easy or that success will magically appear. No. But I am here to share what I've learned, tested, and lived through, what truly separates those who struggle financially from those who build lasting wealth. If you're tired of generic advice and ready to understand the real underlying mechanics, stick with me. We're going to dismantle some deeply ingrained limiting beliefs today. The first limiting belief we need to absolutely demolish is the idea that managing money is about either saving or producing. That it's a zero-sum game where you have to choose between hoarding every penny or spending lavishly. That's a lie, my friend. The truth, the fundamental mindset of those who build true wealth, is about producing wealth and managing it wisely. It's an equilibrium, a conscious dance between creation and stewardship. I used to think I just needed to cut expenses, that frugality alone would make me rich. It just made me feel poorer, honestly, constantly worried about every dollar leaving my wallet. The real shift happened when I understood that my energy needed to be split, a significant portion on generating income, and a significant portion on intentionally managing what came in. It's not about restriction, it's about conscious flow. This leads us directly to understanding the three essential financial pillars, where you should invest first, long before you start buying things to impress others. First, buy time. This might sound counterintuitive, but think about it. Can you delegate tasks that drain your energy and prevent you from focusing on high-value activities? Can you automate recurring bills or mundane chores? Investing in services that free up your time, whether it's a cleaner, a virtual assistant for small tasks, or a meal prep service, allows you to redirect that saved time and mental energy toward more productive, income-generating pursuits or even self-development. Time is our most precious, non-renewable resource, yet we often squander it on low-value activities because we're unwilling to spend money to get it back. Second, ensure your health and quality of life. I'm talking about genuinely prioritizing your well-being. Good food, proper rest, regular exercise, even therapy if you need it. Because if you're burnt out, stressed, and unhealthy, you cannot perform at your peak, you cannot make clear decisions, and you certainly cannot sustain wealth creation long-term. Many people chase money at the expense of their health, only to spend that money later trying to regain what they lost. It's a vicious, self-defeating cycle. Millionaires understand that their body and mind are their primary assets. Invest there first. And third, have clear goals before spending on trivialities. This is where most people get caught in the validation trap. You know, buying the expensive car, the designer clothes, the latest gadgets, not because you truly need or even deeply desire them, but because you want to project an image. This is the walking billboard mentality. You're literally advertising your insecurity by trying to impress others with material possessions. I've been there, buying things I couldn't really afford just to keep up or to feel important. And it never truly worked. It only created a deeper hole, both in my bank account and in my self-worth. The mindset of production, the ability to anchor value in yourself rather than in objects, is critical here. Real wealth isn't about what you own, it's about what you create and the clarity with which you live. When you understand your value comes from within, from your skills, your knowledge, your character, and your ability to solve problems, you stop seeking external validation through purchases. You learn to create wealth without depending on social approval. You realize that true freedom isn't the ability to buy anything you want, it's the ability to not need anything to feel complete. It's about building a life, not just collecting things. When you get this, money becomes a tool, not a master, and that's a fundamental shift from scarcity to abundance. The second limiting belief, and perhaps the most insidious, is that our internal narratives, the stories we tell ourselves about why things are the way they are just thoughts and don't profoundly impact our reality. But let me be honest with you, personal development, at its core, is about your perception of the world. Your internal explanations, these subtle stories, determine 100% of your actions, or lack thereof. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good with money, I'm not creative," or "I wasn't born for this," guess what? Your actions will invariably align with those explanations, keeping you stuck. I used to rationalize every failure, every inaction with a complex narrative of, "It's too hard, I don't have enough talent," or "I'm just not disciplined enough." These weren't just thoughts, they were handcuffs. This happens because a limited mental file, a narrow repertoire of experiences, knowledge, and perspectives, creates limited explanations. Imagine someone who has only ever lived in a small, isolated village. Their understanding of opportunity or wealth will be incredibly constrained by that limited input. They might genuinely believe there are only 3 ways to make a living because that's all they've ever seen. Their mental file, their archive of possibilities, is tiny. In the same way, if your mental file is filled with stories of struggle, scarcity, and self-doubt, your brain will constantly pull from that limited archive to explain why you can't do something. It's like trying to draw a masterpiece with only 2 colors. You need to expand that mental palette, consciously seeking out new inputs, new ideas, new perspectives to literally rewire your brain to see more possibilities. This brings us to a crucial principle: you become good by doing, not by being good first. You cannot decide based only on what you already are. This is the paralyzing trap of, "I'll start when I'm ready, I'll pursue that dream when I feel confident enough, I'll invest when I know everything about the market." The principle of progress versus preparation is key here. People who consistently achieve great things don't wait to be ready or good, they start, they do, and through that process, they become. I learned this the hard way. For years, I delayed starting my own projects because I felt I wasn't expert enough. I spent countless hours preparing, only to find that true learning and growth happened only when I actually put myself out there, made mistakes, and adjusted. That's how you build competence, that's how you expand your mental file, and that's how you unlock action. So, how do you build explanations that genuinely provide clarity for action? It's about transforming those limiting narratives into empowering ones. It's the difference between saying, "I wasn't born for this," and "I don't have experience yet." One is a permanent judgment, a closed door. The other is an open invitation for learning and growth, a clear path forward. Instead of, "I can't afford it," try, "How can I afford it?" or "How can I create more value to earn it?" These questions shift your brain from a state of paralysis to a state of possibility. It's not about being naive, it's about being strategic with your internal dialogue. When you deliberately craft explanations that empower you to act, that highlight growth, and that focus on solutions, you fundamentally change your trajectory. This is where true transformation begins, not by wishing you were different, but by consciously choosing the stories that drive you forward, every single day. The third limiting belief that separates the struggling from the successful is the desperate need to constantly follow trends and copy what others are doing, especially in today's saturated digital landscape. Let me tell you straight, following trends kills your long-term career. If you're only now noticing a trend, you are already late. You're entering a crowded space, trying to replicate something that's already peaking. You become a follower, walking billboard for someone else's original idea, rather than a creator. I've seen so many people, myself included, fall into this trap. You see someone else having success with a specific video format or content style, and you think, I should do that too. But by the time you've copied it, adapted it, and put it out, the algorithm has moved on, and you're left wondering why it didn't work for you. The truth is, it wasn't designed to work for you. It was designed for the original creator. And here's another uncomfortable truth: equipment, fancy camera angles, and advanced editing software don't make you unique. All of that is completely copyable in 6 months, if not sooner. Anyone with enough money can buy the same gear. Anyone with enough dedication can learn the same editing techniques. But you? Your unique perspective, your personal experiences, your distinct way of thinking, that's not copyable. That's your true competitive advantage. I remember obsessing over what camera I should buy, what lighting setup I needed. I thought it would make my content professional and stand out. But what actually made a difference was when I stopped focusing on the external tools and started focusing on the internal tools, my own mental file, my unique insights, my authentic voice. The real value is in the originality of your ideas, not the polish of your production. That's why being truly authentic is difficult and scary. Because when you choose to walk your own path, to create something from your unique mental file, to express a perspective that might not be popular, there's no one else to blame if it fails. The spotlight is entirely on you. If you copy a trend and it doesn't work, you can always say, well, everyone else was doing it. But if you create something truly original, deeply authentic, and it falls flat, the ego hit is intense. It feels deeply personal. I've lived through this. Putting out content that felt incredibly vulnerable, only to have it receive fewer views than a generic trend-following video. It stings. But the other side of that coin is also true: when you succeed with your authentic voice, the victory is entirely yours. It's a profound validation of your unique self, not just a fleeting win for following the crowd. This is the essence of the long game: how 10 years of unwavering authenticity keeps you relevant and thriving while replicators disappear into obscurity. Those who consistently bet on themselves, who commit to nurturing their unique point of view, who dare to be creators of trends rather than just followers, build a brand and a legacy that cannot be replicated. It's a slow burn, not an overnight sensation. It requires courage to show up as yourself, to articulate ideas drawn from your unique mental file, even when no one else is doing it or when the immediate rewards aren't obvious. Because here's the thing: when the next trend dies, the authentic voices remain. They don't chase, they attract. They don't copy, they create. And that, my friend, is the ultimate differentiation, the true path to lasting impact and financial freedom. So, let's bring all this back to that initial question, that feeling of being stuck while others seem to soar. What truly separates those living in financial struggle from those enjoying abundant wealth today? It's not just about money itself, it's about the underlying operating system of your mind. It's about the often invisible beliefs you hold and the narratives you tell yourself. We talked about the first limiting belief, the idea that money is a zero-sum game, that you must choose between saving or producing. But the truth, the millionaire mindset, understands that true wealth is built on producing and managing with wisdom, by investing in time, health, and clear goals, not fleeting validation. Then we tackled the second limiting belief, that your internal narratives are just passive thoughts. We shattered that, understanding that your explanations for the world determine your actions. If you tell yourself, "I can't," you won't. But if you embrace the principle that, you become good by doing, you unlock a world of possibilities. It's about consciously expanding your mental file, feeding it with new ideas and perspectives, and choosing to craft explanations that fuel action, not paralyze it. This is where you reclaim your power, transforming, "I wasn't born for this," into, "I don't have the experience yet." And finally, we dismantled the third limiting belief, the desperate need to copy others and chase fleeting trends. We explored the courage of originality, recognizing that while equipment and external polish are easily replicable, your unique perspective and authentic voice are not. It's about playing the long game, betting on yourself, and understanding that true differentiation comes from within, from building a unique repertoire that no one else can copy. This, my friend, is how you become a trendsetter, not just a trend follower, creating value that stands the test of time. These aren't just abstract concepts. These are the fundamental principles that, when understood and applied consistently, transform how you interact with the world, how you perceive opportunities, and ultimately, how you build wealth and a life of genuine freedom. It's not about working harder in the wrong direction, it's about aligning your mind, your actions, and your beliefs with the kind of life you truly desire. The path to breaking free from these limiting beliefs and stepping into abundance isn't easy, but it's real, and it starts with understanding these truths. Think about this: the person you'll be 5 years from now, the one who has finally broken free from these cycles, the one who's building a life of true wealth and authenticity, that person is being shaped by the choices you make today. Every limiting belief you choose to question, every internal narrative you dare to rewrite, every small act of authentic creation, it all compounds. This isn't about becoming someone else, it's about shedding the layers of who you've been told to be, who you've thought you had to be, and revealing the powerful, resourceful, and capable individual that's been there all along. The journey from scarcity to abundance isn't a quick fix or a magic formula. It's a slow, deliberate process of understanding, testing, and applying these fundamentals. It requires you to be courageous enough to look inward, honest enough to confront your own limiting beliefs, and committed enough to rewrite your story. I know it can feel overwhelming, like there's too much to change. But you don't have to change everything at once. Pick one belief, one narrative, one area where you feel stuck, and start there. The smallest shift in perception can create a ripple effect that transforms your entire trajectory. This isn't just about money, it's about living a life of profound integrity and freedom, a life that truly reflects your highest potential. And when you decide to embark on this journey, the awakening is inevitable. If any of this resonated with you, if you felt that spark of recognition, that glimmer of clarity, then I'm not going to ask you for a generic like or subscription. But if you're ready to continue this journey of real transformation, not just temporary motivation, then consider becoming a part of this community. Hit that subscribe button if you want more honest conversations like this, conversations that don't shy away from uncomfortable truths but always offer a path forward. And please, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these limiting beliefs hit home the hardest for you today? Or what's one internal narrative you're committed to rewriting? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because your insights help all of us grow. Let's build a space where authentic growth isn't just a dream, but a lived reality.